All right, YouTube. Basically, I want to talk about something. I've heard a lot of guys who were Gen Xers talking about real men do this. When we were kids, man, we moved out at 18 and blah blah blah, blah blah blah. But at the same time, even not even looking at the cost of living. Okay, we're gonna just ignore that. Hypothetically, ignore the cost of living. If you're 18 or whatever, like I'm a millennial, okay? I'm a younger millennial, but when I was 16, it was 2009 on the day that I turned 16. I was technically homeschooled, so I could have worked like maybe 30 hours a week, right? I put in job after job application. These weren't high paying jobs. These jobs were making eight, nine, $10 an hour. Some of them were paying $7.25 back then, which was the minimum. It's been the minimum in Texas for a long time. However, none of those jobs even hired me. You get what I'm saying? And it was ridiculous. None of them hired me. And the economy, the economy in the South has been bad for a long time. Now you're seeing job opportunities pop up, If you're Gen Z or the economy that you were born into, like when you turned 16, it could have been 2013, 2014, or whatever. That economy is a lot better than the economy. It was 2009 when I turned 16 in the South. The recession was 2007, 2008. In 2009, it still wasn't that many jobs building up. It took all the way to, it was like 2012, 2013 when the economy finally started getting back on track. By then, I was 19, 20 years old. Even when I was 18, the economy was still slow. I was filling out job applications. I didn't even get hired. I was almost 19 years old when I got my first job at a staffing company, making $7.25 an hour. It took a long time. And all these old dudes talking about, oh, y'all need to move out of the house at 18 and all this other stuff. How is somebody supposed to do that? They're going to get them a roommate. I mean, honestly, people who are dealing drugs and doing stupid shit is going to get them lifetime in prison or 10 years in jail or whatever. Um, when you're 18, you don't have a whole lot of options. And I went to a community college when I was 23, 24. There were other people my age in community college who had an easy life, played video games, did whatever they want to. I on the other hand, I had roommates, but I moved out of my parents' house at 23. And a lot of people there, they were 23, they were still living with their parents. This one guy was like, he was basically, 21, 22 years old, and he didn't even know the cost of living. You see what I'm saying? He was Ethiopian or North African or whatever. He was mixed with different races. He was Italian. And he was mixed with a few races, but he was African. Anyways, this guy didn't even know the cost of living. Now, I'm not saying for people to be babies and be like, goo gaga. But at the same time, you see these other groups of people like these Asian and African people staying with their parents until they're 25 or 30, and then when they move out, they got $20,000 in cash. They can make a $10,000 payment on a house, especially in Texas. Those people, it's easier for them to come up because the cost of living isn't that high. By the time they leave their parents' house, they get their own house. You know what I'm saying? Or they inherit the house and they move their family in there and they have generational wealth. Moving out at 18, that's not how you build generational wealth. For everybody to turn around and buy a house, it's going to take you a long time if you move out at 18. You've been paying rent for decades. It's going to take, I might be able to buy a house when I get 38 or 40. You know what I'm saying? Realistically, I'm paying a lot of rent, and I don't think that people should just think, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to buy a house till I'm 46." Well, no, but at the same time, you got to look at how much money you make, how much things cost. I got to pay my car insurance. I got to do all these things, and I still got to go to sleep at nighttime. You get what I'm saying? You can work 2 jobs, and then the IRS sweat you about how much money you make, and oh, you didn't pay enough in this. It's a ton of stress that comes with money, man. That's not a carefree life. That's stressful. That's gonna make you lose your goddamn mind. You over here got the IRS sweating you. Oh, you made 70,000 last year, but you only paid 5,000 in taxes. We need 4,000 more dollars. You got that type of stuff going on. It's really hard to save money in this country. And for you to sit here and talk about how what real men need to do, you can't tell those people, those Asian and those Indian people and those African people anything, because what they're doing works. They be having generational wealth when they're 40 years old. Black people barely be able to buy a house or do anything. Don't have any money. You know what I'm saying? Be struggling. By the time you buy a house, your children, the average black dude, his children are 15 and 17 years old. He doesn't have any money saved up for them to go to college. They're going to have to get an athletic scholarship or academic scholarship. He doesn't have the money to pay for it because he used that money to buy the house. How are you going to have enough money to get a car, buy a house, pay for college, and do all these things, then take her out for shopping? You're gonna have to make at least $120,000 a year in the South to do this. If you live in Denver, Colorado, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, California, you're gonna be needing 200 grand to do any of that stuff. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I say this. You gotta live above your means. You gotta live below your means, And a lot of these Gen Xer guys and these baby boomer guys, I'm gonna say dudes born between, like, let's say 1950 and 1970, are promoting tricking and just, it's waste of energy. If I'm a man and I can't get a woman unless I'm breaking bread on them, that mean that they're not the one for me, man.